My name is Sioredas. I'm the head coach at Cal Poly, going on our 10th year now, and just wanted to talk a little recruiting. So I have a couple things that we do that we've learned through the years. First and foremost, we have an incredible staff, and I think that's arguably the most important thing. You are who you surround yourself with, and making sure that you got assistants that are tightly aligned on your vision, I think is really step one, because they're essentially an extension of you, not just in messaging, but also throughout the recruiting and selection process. So for us, early on, we thought we could recruit anyone and everyone. So after a few years, we had to essentially redefine the game and figure out realistic targets, kids that had potential, but also had credentials. I mean, we're in the business of winning wrestling matches, and I think having the proof and being competent in the sport is obviously a check mark. But outside of that, I think as long as they have some quality wins and they've proven they can beat some of the best guys in the country, then they become recruitable in our eyes. So it's not a situation where they have to be in the top 50 or top 100 or hit a certain threshold at the state championship. We just want to make sure that there's at least one or perhaps a couple quality wins. And with that, then we start casting a wide net and spending time with the guys. We're in the relationship business, so another thing is, instead of trying to sell the recruits on what we have to offer, we ask a lot of open-ended questions. We spend a lot of time with the family, the parents, the coaches, etc. We recruit mostly in state, so we have the opportunity to bring guys in for multiple visits. Number one, it shows their true interest level, and they don't just want a beach trip. And number two, it really just gives us some time to get to know them. We do have some non-negotiables. We got a list of characteristics that we want to try to make sure. We do miss. We'll never get it right every time. I think most recruits and coaches, a lot of times they tell you what you want to hear. So our job is to dig in, ask the right questions. But first and foremost, we want to make sure that the potential student athletes love the sport of wrestling. I think you have to love the sport, because when you love something, you want to spend time with it and you want to grow. So hard to find that answer because everyone says yes, but I think one of the tells is, particularly after their senior year, if they continue to wrestle in off-season events, shows that they love the sport, they love to compete. That carries a lot of weight for us. But really, we just want them to love it as much as we do. I think if that's the case, then it's going to be a really good fit. Number two, just really being open to growth and just focus on getting better. So we're a developmental program. We're not signing the number one guy in the country at every weight class every year. So we got to put a lot of work in, and we want to make sure that the guys that we bring in are not only open to that, but really crave it and going to put forth the extra effort. And then lastly, number three is just making sure that they don't make excuses. We try to ask leading questions to see what happened when something didn't go their way, whether, in high school or if they're a transfer. And if you find they start blaming the former coaching staff, what's going to happen eventually is they're going to start blaming you. So those are some key indicators. So really, those three are our must-haves, our non-negotiables, and we push pretty hard trying to figure those things out. Another big piece, I learned this from a mentor, is watching the interaction between the recruit and the parents, particularly while they're on campus, particularly in meetings. So if the parents continue to step in and answer every question for the recruit, that's a little bit of a red flag. So you want to try to separate them and spend some time with the recruit, and also how they treat their parents. I think that's incredibly important. If they're respectful, these are all good signs. You'd be surprised at some of the interactions we've had through the years that we just dismissed because we wanted to win so bad. The single most important thing for me that I've learned through the years is having the courage to say no. Because again, we want to win so incredibly bad that we're willing to take risk. I mean, that's what we do as coaches, as leaders. We're in the business of winning wrestling matches, and you win wrestling matches with talented kids, but I think it could be a double-edged sword. So I failed at this miserably, but there's been so many times where we've had a kid that so incredibly talented, but yet would make some poor decisions, whether it was socially, academically, and even from a work ethic standpoint. So eventually you'll get exposed. Eventually you'll always get exposed, especially at the national championship. So I had a A mentor a while ago told me the story. He said, hey, John, listen, if you got, just looking at a 0 to 10 scale, if you bring in some kids that are a 6 or a 7, and they consistently overperform because they're doing the right things and they're performing at a 8 or a 9, like that's really good. If you're bringing in some guys that are 9s and 10s and they're not doing the right things and they consistently perform at an 8 and maybe on a good day a 9, at the end of the day you're getting an 8, maybe a 9 anyhow. We'd rather have the kids that are overachieving and performing and growing. So that really stuck with me through the years, and that's the model that we use with our program. If you look at some of our better guys that have come through, they had some quality wins in high school, but they just kept continuing to learn and grow and put the work in. And if you do so, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when these guys start to break through, there's nothing sweeter. I mean, that's why we do what we do. So recruiting the talent is one piece, but you have to follow it up with the development. So we look at recruits as entering Cal Poly sometimes through the lens of, okay, this might be their 13th grade or their 14th grade. If they come in and they train with our program for a year or two, then you put them back in those high school rankings, they're gonna be one of the best guys in the country. So we have to be okay with putting the time and energy and effort into these kids. And it's a numbers game, it absolutely is. If we recruit 8 guys per year, I mean, it's a high attrition sport at this level. 4 of the 8 are gonna make it through and 2 of the 4 are gonna be impact players. You multiply that by a 5-year cycle and you got your starting 10, pepper in a couple transfers, you can have a savvy little team. So being able to zoom out, take a big scope and understand that not everyone's gonna make it, and knowing that ahead of time gives us a little bit of a competitive advantage. So we don't get too emotionally tied to every single kid. What we do is we offer our best, and we're always proud of our effort, and we give these guys every tool to succeed, but really, it's gonna be on them at the end of the day. Our job is to create the structure to make sure they have everything in place to have success at the highest level. Our secret weapon is our performance coach. We work with Dr. Coy Cooper now. I think this is going on 4 or 5 years, and I had mentioned earlier about our recruits having a growth mindset, and he's made an incredible impact on our guys because when all else is equal, being able to have a clear mind and go out there and send it versus dealing with performance anxiety, among other things, has really been our biggest competitive advantage. And I think if you look at some of the stars that have come through Cal Poly, guys like Truax or someone like Zeth Romney right now, if you ask either one of those guys, they'll attribute a lot of their success to Dr. Coy because the skill set was there, but they just had to work through some things and really spend some time in this area until they started to really break through at the highest level. And watching these guys transform, again, that's a big part of what we do as coaches. And then more importantly, after they graduate, seeing how they start their careers in their life because of the skill set they learned by going through our program for 5 years and particularly working with Dr. Coy. So in closing, we spent a lot of time creating our core values, and it's a living document. It's something that we continue to address year after year. And once you define who you want to be, it's a lot easier to look through that lens, not only from a coaching standpoint, but also from a recruiting standpoint. And having the courage to say no if someone does not check those boxes is really, really difficult to do. But after many, many years, it's pretty easy for me now. Matter of fact, when I interview recruits, I try to find a reason to say no. I am asking the tough questions, I'm digging deep, I'm spending time with the parents, and if it's not a fit, that's okay. There's 280,000 high school wrestlers. I'm sure we can find 8 that fit our core values, and then we can get to work, start to develop, and help these kids transform.